Hello there, and welcome back to my channel. My name is zzionaesthetic, and today I wanted to do another palette pageant review for my series called Palette Pageant Reviews. Today I am going to be reviewing the brand new, Jeffree Star Androgyny palette. This palette was just released about 4 to 5 days ago as I'm filming this. I ordered it on the day that it was released, and I just received it in the mail last night. So I figured that I would jump into it today and review it for you guys and see how I like it. This is the second eyeshadow palette from the Jeffree Star Cosmetics brand, and it's one that I was really excited about when I was seeing all the promo floating around and when I was seeing people who had received it as PR playing with it. I thought that it was a beautiful looking palette. I thought that it was a lot more cohesive than the Beauty Killer palette was, in which the Beauty Killer palette I had a little bit of trouble making a full look using the colors in that palette, whereas with this one, I feel like it's a little bit more put together. So if you would like to see all of the swatches for all of the colors in this palette and hear about what I think about it, I do have some pros and some cons for you guys today. So if you are interested in seeing what I think about this palette, please keep watching. Alright, the first thing that I want to talk about for this palette is the packaging. The component of the actual packaging is the same as the Beauty Killer palette. I did bring my Beauty Killer palette with me so that I could compare. They are in the same exact component. They are the same exact size, same exact thickness. They are a different texture. This one is very smooth, as you can see, whereas this one is definitely textured. It's got sort of a reptile skin texture on it. I think it was just sort of imprinted in, but it does definitely look really nice. It gives it, I don't know, it gives it something that this one definitely was lacking in. I do think that they're both designed pretty well, but just aesthetically, I think that this one is much more interesting to me. Just wanted to show you it's the same as the Beauty Killer palette and totally the same component, same pan sizes, everything. So if there was anything that you did or didn't like on the other palette, it's probably in this palette as well. But now let's hop into the shades. When you first open the palette up, there is a very large mirror up top. It's a really nice quality mirror. There's no like distortion or warping. It definitely gives a very clear image of what you're doing. I did use it to get ready today, but mirror aside, this is all of the shades in the Androgyny palette. I think these are much more cohesive than the Beauty Killer palette. I may have said that already, but that's just like the biggest thing to me is I can look at this and see so many possible combinations and so many possible looks, whereas with the Beauty Killer palette, I really didn't have that. I really looked in there and was like, how am I going to get a look out of this? And I got like 1 or 2 looks out of just the Beauty Killer palette, but with this, there are so many more looks that you can achieve. And so for that, I am very excited. The formula of this is also different than the Beauty Killer palette. It feels a lot nicer in a lot of ways. It's a lot more buttery. It's a lot more smooth. It's a lot more blendable. That was like the biggest difference in the formula for me, was that with the Beauty Killer palette, a lot of times like I'd set down like a pink and I just would blend and blend and blend and blend and blend and blend and couldn't get the edges to blend out. Like, there would still be sort of a defining line between the two colors that I set down, and this one I didn't have that problem at all. They blended so easily together, almost too easily, honestly. The only complaint that I could have about blending is because they are so blendable, it's really easy to muddy the colors up and sort of have them all blend into each other, which is kind of what happened to me today. I did have originally a lot of purple on the outer half of my lid and up into my crease a little bit, like a lot of that androgyny color right here. And as I sort of blended it out, as I sort of made my eyes happen, it did get lost a lot. There's not much of that androgyny color remaining in my eye look. It still looks really beautiful, but I just wanted to let you guys know that it does sort of blend itself out if you keep blending it. So you kind of have to find that perfect medium where you put it on, super pigmented when you put it on, you blend it out for a second till it's at that right point, and then you stop. You can't just blend forever like you can with most eyeshadows, or else it just kind of gets muddied up. But other than that, I really don't have very many complaints about the formula in this palette. I had a lot of luck with it. I had a lot of luck blending it out. I thought that they all sat on top of each other really well. I hope that all of them don't sort of muddy up like Androgyny did or get lost like Androgyny did, because I didn't really have that happen to me with very many of the others. This Charm color really sort of stayed where I needed it to. I did have to apply a couple times, but it was nothing like the Androgyny color. So yeah, I just figured I would let you guys know that I did have some trouble with the blending, just it getting too muddy. But let's hop into the actual shades in this palette right here. First, all the way to the upper left is this shade Frosting. This is the light shade in the palette, the highlight shade. It's just basically like a champagne-y gold, and it is really gorgeous. The only thing that I could say about this that I was a little perturbed by is it's very soft. And like most of the times you'd want eyeshadows to be soft, you'd want them to be buttery, but this is like really buttery. Like I can press my finger and make an imprint of my fingerprint in this eyeshadow. It's like not a cream, but very, very, very soft. So just be very careful when you are getting this one. I was using a very tiny brush to try to get some detail work done with this color, and it was kind of yanking up chunks a little bit. It does feel smooth when you run your finger over it, and it does give a smooth application, but I just figured I'd let you guys know that it is extremely soft. The next shade is called Safe Word, and this is a sort of cool toned transition color. This is what I used as my transition today. Kind of mixed in a little bit with the next color, Charmed. I had no problems today with Safe Word. This just sat there so nicely. It blended out so nicely. This is really, really, really good. The formulation of this one is just amazing. Really, really easy to use. Really classic transition shady beautifulness, you know. The next color is Charmed. This is one that I was probably the most excited for, other than Androgyny. When I was getting this palette, when I was ordering this palette, when I was seeing this palette before I bought it, I just thought that this was the most gorgeous transition shade ever. Like, just ever in my life. And it is really, really gorgeous and really, really nice. And I did have a lot of luck with it, kind of like that Safe Word, where it just blended nice, it sat well, the pigmentation was good. Definitely one of the good ones, but the reason I was so perturbed about it is because when I saw it online and when I saw people talking about it saying it would be a good transition, blah blah blah, I thought it was a matte, because most of the time I like to put matte shades up there. I don't like to put shimmer shades in my transition or in my crease very much. And so then when I got this palette and I looked at it closer, I realized that this actually has some shimmer to it. It still worked for me as a transition today. I did decide to use it anyway, just because, fuck it. But it was still just weird to me. Like, it's the perfect shade to be a transition shade, so why is it not matte? Like, just make it matte. Like, okay. The next shade is Deja Vu. This is the shade that I have all right in here, right on the center of my lid and sort of up into the crease a little bit. It's amazing. It's just a very beautiful bronzy sort of shade. These two, this Frosting and this Deja Vu, are so good. I had Deja Vu all over my lid, and then I took Frosting and I put it like right at the front of my eye, and I started to blend it into Deja Vu, and it was literally instant. I just like tapped it and it was like, boom, that looks flawlessly blended. Like, holy crap. These shimmer shades are really, really, really blendable. The next shade is called Dominatrix. This is a really dark, rich, sort of chocolatey brown. I did not use this in today's look, so I have not actually had a chance to play around with this, but we'll see what the swatch looks like, and if it's a similar sort of formula as the Safe Word or Androgyny, I think it will work really well. I think it will be a good shade. Just make sure not to overblend it, because you will lose it, I'm sure. And then the next shade is one that I've talked about like 4 times already. This is Androgyny. This is gorgeous. This is one of my favorite lipstick colors that I own. That is in Jeffree Star's line. It's just perfect. I've always loved the word androgyny as well. I always thought of myself as kind of androgynous. And so when he first came out with the lipstick, I got it instantly just because mostly I was interested in the name. I am wearing it today with my maroon hat, feeling a little bit grunge, but you know, I was born in the 90s. Anyway, I just really like Androgyny. I really love the lipstick shade. I really love this shade in the palette. I do wish it was a little more, I don't know, like pigmented or strong or something. I wish it would stay where you put it a little bit better, but it is still a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful color. Next is this shade Fetish down here. I only used this a little bit on my lower lash line. This is what I used on my lower lash line today. On top of Safe Word, I used both of these. I didn't end up playing with this one too much just because I just sort of set it on my lower lash line. But it does have a very similar formula to Charm from what I can tell, and it also has the same finish where it's almost a matte, not quite as matte as the real mattes in this palette, but also not a super shimmery shade like Frosting or Deja Vu. So I think I'll get a lot of use out of Fetish too. I love these sort of dark burgundy maroon shades. Those are just like my go-tos. The next three shades are all shades that I have not tried yet. I'm not as into greens and blues as I am into warm, beautiful, sunsetty looks. I really admire people who can play around with blues and greens and make them look good all the time. I did try to do a green look the other day actually for my haul video, and I kind of just looked like an angry peacock. But if you guys do want to check that out and see what I look like with green eyeshadow, you can. I will link that video down in the description bar. But the next color is Military, and so this is supposed to be like Jeffree's idea of a military green. It's very matte, like Androgyny and like Safe Word, and I just think it's really nice. I honestly feel like this is one of the only greens that I could play with, because if I worked that into my outer V or into my crease, I just feel like I could get it to work, you know? I don't think it's as intense of a green as like these blues are, and so I think that I might be able to play around with that one. And then the last two shades I'm going to do together, because why do you need two shades there? I mean, I know that these are different shades, and I know, but like, they're not, really. When I'm thinking about the blendability of this palette and how amazing it is, but also how muddy it gets, I feel like these two would not look any different. If you put this one, or like this one, and then this one underneath it, and tried to like blend them together, it would just become the same shade. And so for that reason, I think it's a little funny that he put two such similar colors right here. But I can understand, because I know a lot of people do like blues, a lot of people do like cool colors, and so they're probably eating that up. I just feel like with the way the palette blends and my personal preference, it wasn't super important to have these two blues. The first one right here is Poison. This one is much less of like a true blue. This one's got a little bit of like almost gray-green to it. It's almost like a very cool metal color, but like cold metal. I don't mean like that's cool, I mean like cold. You know how it gets sort of that tint to it? I don't know. I might just be talking out of my ass, but anyway, it kind of reminds me of that. And then the Swallow, which is this last blue, is like truly navy blue. This is just like as navy blue as you can get. So that is all of the colors in this palette. Like I said, I think it is much more cohesive than the last palette was. This is the only part where it gets a little funky for me with the colors. Just literally, if you had just put one, like a different color instead of Poison, I would have zero complaints about the colors he chose in this palette. I think he did a really good job at picking colors for this palette, and I'm really happy with the color selection. I'm also happy with the formula. In comparison to the Beauty Killer palette, the formula just feels so much nicer. Really, other than the fact that Charm isn't fully matted down, and the fact that there's two blues, and the fact that it blends into sort of a muddy mess if you over blend it, I am really excited about this. I am definitely going to get a lot of good looks out of this. I know right now it sort of seems like I'm saying all these negative things about it, but I just want to give you guys like you know, not just the perfect things. Like, I do really like this palette. There are some issues, which is what I'm telling you now, but it is definitely still one that I'm going to use on a regular basis. I think that it came out really nicely. I think the colors are really beautiful, and I think it's something that I could definitely make work pretty much again and again. There's definitely a lot of different looks that I could pull out of this palette. So that is pretty much it. I just wanted to talk about what issues I was having with the palette, discuss how the formula was a little bit different, go over all of the different colors with you guys, and just sort of, you know, scope it out. It is a brand new palette, so I wanted to try to get a video up talking about it a little bit before it became old news. I also filmed this tutorial right here for this look. If you guys are interested in getting this sort of sunsetty, beautiful look with this palette, then I will be uploading that video either later this week or next week, so stay tuned for that. Make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss it, and that's pretty much it. I guess I'll go to my outro. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I had a lot of fun swatching all of these colors and going through them all with you guys. I just am really, really excited about this palette. In general, I am excited. Most of the time, I have more words to say, but I've pretty much already delved into all the things that I wanted to tell you guys about this palette, so yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It lets me know that you enjoy these palette pageant reviews, and lets me know to keep making them, which I'll probably do anyway because I fucking love doing palette pageant reviews. And that's pretty much all I have to say. You guys can follow me on my other social networking accounts if you'd like. I have a YouNow, a Twitter, an Instagram, and a Facebook, all of which I will link down in my description bar, but they're all the same as I am right here on YouTube, zzionaesthetic with 2 Z's. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day wherever you are. Thanks again so much for watching this video. I hope you learned something, or at least learned about pretty colors, and I hope to catch you on the next one. Thanks so much. Bye.